Hi, this is going to be a video response to C4 Crispy. He made a very interesting question. I'm not sure if I understand the question completely because it can be either very simple or very complex. He was basically asking how to handle those fast travel or downtime moments without taking away the player's agency and without relying on fast traveling completely, perhaps role playing through the transition. I will try to answer in the best way possible. Like I said, I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly, but here goes. I think we can rely on a certain example. Crispy, you may remember from the Dark and Terrible campaign, as you were moving through the sandbox, there was little, no, I don't think there ever was fast travel. You were always moving through the map and you encountered many things. Instead of saying, oh, you immediately reached the keep at the north, you went through this sort of glade area and the abandoned farms. You encountered the peddler that was selling fruit, the farmer. So it's all about those little moments throughout the journey. But make sure that those moments have a certain importance to the game. In the case of that, like a glade with a pond, you encounter that water spirit or entity. In the case of the abandoned farms, you met the rough-skin orc tribe that were potential allies. Later on, well, spoilers, right? But those of you that haven't seen the campaign, the actual play, please check it out. The link will be in the description. But later on, they became a bit important. When it comes to the fruit seller, you obtained some information from him, and you also managed to purchase some rations for the road ahead. So there are just so many opportunities for the players to still have their agency, to decide their course of action, and still roleplay through the situation without fast traveling or skipping ahead. You are playing Weird Frontiers, right? Let's say that you have trains in that zone. The characters perhaps decide to take the train to a particular town or city. I don't know how you are handling things in your game, in your setting, but maybe that's it. They decide to take the train to this town. You could have interesting non-player characters in the train for the player characters to interact with. Maybe during the journey, the characters decide to stretch their legs a little and they start to walk through the different sections of the train. And they see this individual sitting alone, holding a black cube between his hands. And he's looking everywhere in a very nervous way. He has a very nervous demeanor to him. And when he looks at you, he just smiles very quickly in a very nervous way and decides to ignore you and he looks outside the window. So now you have an interesting non-player character. Perhaps the player characters decide to approach him. They could say something like, hey, that's an interesting cube you have there. You know, something like that, to see what happens. Could he be a potential ally or an enemy? Maybe he has access to important information related to some sort of main quest that you are taking on, or a mission. As the player characters are sitting in the train, perhaps they look through the windows and they spot a weird looking temple in the distance. Now they know that around that zone there is this potential adventure site. Maybe they decide to return to it. Perhaps as they are looking through the window, they spot someone being attacked by a monster and they decide to heroically jump off the train. Maybe they see a strange creature, like a hybrid between a buffalo and a human. So there are so many things that could happen across the journey. You don't need to fast travel things if you don't want to do so. It could apply to any situation. If the player characters decide to take a boat could be the same thing. There could be non-player characters to interact with during that journey. They could encounter perhaps even dangers during their sea journeys. A sea monster, a ghost ship. If you are taking a plane, maybe as you are looking through the window, you spot an aircraft that you have never seen before in your life for a brief instant. Or maybe you see gremlins. So there are many things that could happen, maybe many non-player characters, situations, hazards that could be encountered through the journey. Just make sure that it is worth role-playing those situations. It is perfectly reasonable if the players decide to take a ship, a train, go to this area, perhaps just using their horses. If there aren't any important events throughout the journey, I think that you won't be disrespecting the player's agency, the player character's agency, as long as they decided to choose that mode of travel. You can fast travel things. You could say something like, after 4 hours of travel time in an uneventful journey, you arrive at the city of who knows what. I think that's perfect. It's like when Rick invited us to criticize his game. I mentioned that one of the flaws was that the adventure itself, the scenario, it was pretty boring, unremarkable, lackluster. They were basically repairmen in space. Repairmen. So if you were to tell someone about the session after it happened, it would be a very dull story to tell. Remember, roleplay is different from storytelling. Somebody could ask you, what happened in the previous session? And you could say, well, we went to repair this spaceship. And the other person, oh really? And did you encounter like aliens? Or did you find traces of some sort of corporate device that sabotaged the ship? Did you? No, we were repairing things and then something exploded and this guy lost his legs. Oh really? Yeah. And then what? No, that's it. We just had to deal with the event of him losing his legs. How dull, you see. This is not like to rub it in. This is just an example of, if you are having those situations during a journey, don't roleplay those situations. They need to be fun, interesting, memorable. Like I said, insert some enigmatic non-player characters, some events, some sites, some creatures, some vehicles that you can find throughout that travel section. If not, definitely fast travel. You are not disrespecting the choices of the players. They decided to take the train, the bus, the plane. That's their choice. You can skip that if you wish. So I hope this video was informative and entertaining. Like I said, I'm not sure if I understood the question, but I hope I provided at least some details that could be useful. As always, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Later on, we are going to be playing the Dungeons & Dragons online campaign. I will be uploading the session about 8 or 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I hope you will watch it. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.